Chances are that you've been told that in order to lead a successful life, that the only way you could do that is to climb a corporate ladder, or maybe even just to get a stable job, maybe even to get a trade, to do something that's predictable and somewhat safe. Maybe you've actually been told that another way to go is to build a business, to start your own business and go it alone. But what if I told you that there's actually a better path, a path that gives you control over your time, freedom over where you work, and unlimited potential in terms of actually what you earn? Now, it sounds too good to be true, right? But hear me out. And all of that without the risk of what entrepreneurship brings to the table, or in fact, with the limitations and the shackles that come with a career and a 9-to-5 role where you're working for someone else. And so the two paths we are told to choose are either being an employee or being an entrepreneur. Now, these career paths or these choices and life decisions are big decisions. And you may have been told that they're the only route to success. But the reality is this: each one of those two paths come with pros and cons. And it's important to weigh them up when we're considering which one's actually right for us based on our needs and what we want our life to obviously be like. Now, my name is Shane COSTA, and I've generated over $30 billion in remote sales, building online businesses. And I can tell you there's a much smarter way to build wealth in 2025 with freedom, with control over your career, and with the ability to earn as much as you want. It doesn't require that you give up your soul being an employee. And in fact, it doesn't require that you risk everything being an entrepreneur trying to start your own business. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down the pros and the cons of both paths, and I'm going to introduce a new concept to you called intrapreneurship. And I'm going to explain why entrepreneurship in the remote high-ticket sales space as an entrepreneur offers so much upside and freedom in such a way that you should not ignore. Now, let's start with the employee path, because that's the most common one for most people. Now, you may have heard, right? Get a great job and work harder, climb the corporate ladder, sacrifice a little longer, stay in it a little more, strive a little further and just get another diploma or get another degree, but it's never enough. It's a story that's been sold to us for generations, for decades. But how's that working out? You were told that working the 9-to-5 and sticking to a steady routine and having a predictable, safe career path and moving up in a company would actually lead somewhat to financial security and what many would see as life success. But there's a catch, right? The employee, they're trading time for money, but they're always at the mercy of someone else. And rightly so, because you're working for someone else and they take on huge risks to build a business. And no matter how high you climb, you're still limited by your salary, and the hours are actually available in a day. There's only so many hours that you can devote to your job. Now, even if you do get that promotion and take on more responsibility and decide that you're going to put in extra hours, well, you're still going to be stuck in a salary cap, limited by your income. And the more you work with that promotion, well, often it just means more stress, more responsibility. Doesn't come without a price. And often what that actually means is less freedom, and meaning that you're more glued to your job, to your phone, to your email inbox, and you just have to take on so much more in order to just get a slightly little bit more. And so think about your day, right? You wake up early, you rush through your morning routine. For many people, what that actually means in most cases is they're not engaging with those that they love, their partner, their children, maybe even a fur baby. You don't get to spend any time on yourself. Most mornings you get up, you scoff down a piece of toast, and you smash a coffee that tastes like dishwater just to get in the car, to get stuck in traffic, to get to a job that you actually don't like anymore. It doesn't light you up. That makes you feel like you're in Groundhog Day, just getting through life, working through the motions just to get a paycheck, just to get some money into your account that often is not enough, only to go and spend it on things that you don't even need because something inside doesn't feel right. You don't feel inspired. You don't feel happy. And so there's this perpetual cycle that starts. Every day that commute crushes your soul. And so you get to the office, you're told where to be, you're told when to be there, you're told how to behave. And for the next 8 to 10 hours in that day, every single day, you're a prisoner. That's what being an employee is. And so is that really success? Well, it is not. If you're chasing someone else's idea of success, well, there's the problem. And if you're doing it in a way that means you have to sacrifice your time, your energy, your soul, and give up your freedom, well, is that really how you want to be living your life whilst you're on this rock, on this earth? Life is so short. And so you're working hard and you're striving, but at what cost? You're not in control of your life because you're building someone else's dream. And so this is what most employees have to endure. And the truth is the corporate ladder isn't leading you anywhere meaningful. It's a trap. In most cases, it's just a trap. It forces you to work more hours and to take on more stress and sacrifice even more, just so that you can keep climbing and pretending that you're succeeding. You're getting somewhere in someone else's dream, hoping that one day you may just be recognized, one day you may just be rewarded, one day you may just get your piece of the pie, and everything eventually will make sense, but none of it ever does. And you'll always be trading time for money if you stay on this ladder, if you stay on this hamster wheel, always at the mercy of someone else. Now let's talk about the entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, it is not for everyone. It is much harder than you could even possibly imagine. The dream many believe to be ahead of them when they get into entrepreneurship often turns into a nightmare. Just think about the amount of businesses that fail within the first 12 months. Then let's look at the amount of businesses that will fail in the first 24 months. And then those that survive the first 2 years, how many by the end of the 5th year are actually still in business? And the numbers are eye-watering. They will make you cry. It is much harder than you could ever imagine. Yeah, so on the surface, entrepreneurship sounds great. It sounds like the perfect solution to escaping the 9-to-5 grind that, so many of us think is the ultimate trap. But entrepreneurship ends up becoming a much bigger trap. Yes, you're in control of your schedule. You have unlimited earning potential. That is true. And you can build something from the ground up, which can be exciting and can have lots of positives. But here's a reality that most won't tell you about entrepreneurship and being a founder. And I've founded many multiple 7- and 8-figure companies. It's not all it's cracked up to be. There is so much more that goes on behind the scenes. Entrepreneurship is not glamorous. It's often very hard work and very long hours and lots of sacrifice, an incredible amount of stress that comes with it. The truth is it's absolutely extremely risky. If you don't like gambling, if you don't like putting it all on the line, well, then it's probably not for you. It is stressful and it isn't for everyone. Most people aren't built for the life, the journey of an entrepreneur, because you're responsible for everything: the marketing, the sales, the operations, the payroll, managing people, new hires, fires, operations, SOPs, and the works. You're putting all your resources, time, energy, money on the line. Most often, it's more than you're willing to pay. In fact, often it's everything you have. And you're working 80 hours without a guarantee that you're actually going to get paid for those hours, that it's actually going to pay off. There is no guarantees with entrepreneurship. By definition, there is no guarantee. So now you may think that entrepreneurship could bring freedom, but what you're really getting and what you're creating in most cases for most entrepreneurs is a job. They're buying themselves a job. And that does have some benefits, but it's got many downsides with no stability, no guarantee of income, and no real work-life balance. Work-life balance as an entrepreneur actually does not exist. You're constantly working, you're checking your phone, you're stressing about stuff. You're still wondering if the business is actually going to survive the next month. There's so much uncertainty in the first 12 months. And then after the first 12 months, well, there's even more. What if market conditions change? What if there's more and more competition into my niche? The reality is entrepreneurship comes with huge risk, huge responsibility. Many entrepreneurs find themselves burnt out, depressed, and struggling to survive. The success that they were promised or thought was ahead of them actually doesn't even ever come to fruition. So it all sounds pretty doom and gloom, but what's the real solution then? If entrepreneurship isn't the way, and if being an employee stuck in a 9-to-5 grind is also not the way, well, what is there? Intrapreneurship. So intrapreneurship is the type of business that operates within a business. And there's extreme benefits because there's advantages, or I guess the best of what is both worlds. Now you get the freedom and the autonomy of an entrepreneur, but you get the support and you get the security of working in a company with structure, with policies, procedures, and security. It allows you speed to pivot. If something's not working, you're not stuck. You haven't sunk all your money into it. You haven't put all your energy and soul into it, which means you can pivot very quickly and move to something else that is working. So as an entrepreneur, in particular, in remote high-ticket sales, you get to work on proven systems. You get to work in proven offers. You get to work on offers that have a solid product to market fit or message to market fit, where it's working, it's validated, it's generating sales, it's already proven, without the risk of starting it from scratch by yourself, without putting endless amounts of money into the business to actually get it off the ground. So entrepreneurship is really the hidden gem of career freedom in 2025. As an entrepreneur in remote high-ticket sales, you get all the upside of the entrepreneurship, as we've already explored, without any of the risks. You don't start a business from scratch, but you have complete control over your income, over your time, and over your location, where you work from. You close deals, the deals that obviously help people create change and solve problems. And as a result of that, you get to earn commissions. And because you're earning commissions, that means that the greater the risk you take, the greater the reward you get. Meaning that most of these founders running these high ticket offers sell offers anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40K deals. And what that means is you get a very, very, very good piece of that pie because you've been able to get someone to take action on that particular offer. So as an entrepreneur, you get to work on established offers in companies that are succeeding. You get the advantage of coming into a business with the infrastructure and the systems already inbuilt, with a support that allows you to start generating income straight away, immediately. There's no ramp up period really. Yes, everything takes a little bit of time, and obviously there's a nuance to every offer that you'll have to learn. You'll have to, get your head around in order to be able to excel, of course, but it starts pretty much straight away. There's no lag time. You get to start being profitable from the start. You don't have to sink an incredible amount of money into it to make it work. So the entrepreneur gets to win much faster. You simply have to leverage your skills that you would have learned through high ticket sales coaching. And based on that, you get to earn based on performance. So the better you are, the more you earn, which means you're pretty good. And if you're pretty good, you're going to be invited onto better and better offers. So you get to close deals, you get to be profitable from day one, and you get to enjoy freedom. So let's just break it down a little bit more. So the traditional path of entrepreneurship means you take all the risk. You're responsible for everything. Your income is dependent on how successful your business actually is. But in contrast, the role of the entrepreneur, the business owner within the business, in remote high-ticket sales in particular, has minimal risk. You just need to bring your effort and your skill. You get to do work that is meaningful. You get to help people create change in a proven offer, in a proven model. And you get to get paid straight away because the sales cycle is so fast. Often the pay cycle is super fast as well. And it's not based on time, but it's actually based on results. So you don't have to manage payroll. You don't have to deal with employee issues and people leaving and all that stuff that comes with owning a business. You just get to benefit. And so the role of the entrepreneur is to create wins, which creates wins for the company, which means that you get to win. And it's unlimited. And you can often scale your income simply by closing more deals, because the beautiful thing is you get to decide how much you actually work. So there's no cap on it. No one's going to say, well, I don't want you to sell more. The owner or the founder is going to encourage you to sell more. They're going to put more money behind ads, and they're going to want to scale their ads. They're going to want to scale their campaigns to a point where there's more in your diary. You're making more sales. You're making more money. So it's like they want you to win to make more money. So it's in their interest for you to earn more money. I mean, just think about that. They want you to earn more money. Right? So the better you do, the better they do, the better they do, the better you do. And so you can also do this with absolute flexibility over where you work. It could be a cafe in Lisbon. It could be a beach in Bali. It could be your home office with your little puppy underneath your feet, whilst you work and talk to people. So high ticket sales as an entrepreneur is the path to freedom in 2025 because you're creating your own ladder. You literally get to create your own ticket. You're climbing your ladder. You're in control of your income, your schedule, and your life. You get to choose where you work, when you work, and how you work without the stress, the risk of entrepreneurship, and without the limitations and shackles of an employee. I mean, does it actually get better than that? I don't think it does, right? So you're probably thinking now, well, then what's the answer? Well, it's very simple. Stop climbing someone else's ladder. Stop building someone else's dream, because when you're building someone else's dream and you're busy building someone else's dream, you're not busy building your own. And so the entrepreneurship path, well, if you're taking on all the risk, often it's more than we're willing to pay. So the entrepreneurship path, well, gives you complete control. It gives you the security of being an employee, but it gives you the upside of being an entrepreneur. It is literally the best of both worlds. And when you sort of think about that, well, what an amazing opportunity. And it exists. It's a multi-trillion-dollar a year industry that is ready and waiting for someone just like you to step up to the plate, to bring skill, tenacity, energy, and know-how, and desire and willingness to help people create change. Founders are literally waiting for you to step up to the plate. So if the idea of being an entrepreneur in high-ticket sales excites you just a fraction, well, head to the bio, because there's a link in there that will allow you to press it and do my freedom formula assessment to assess whether or not a career and a path in remote sales could actually be for you. And if it is, well, then I'll show you exactly what to do next.